All right, hello everyone, and welcome to this webinar on how to complete your billing puzzle with Tempo Timesheets. And with that, let's get started. My name is Ólöf Kristjánsdóttir, and I'm the marketing director here at Tempo, and I've been with the company for 4 years now. And I'm really very pleased to welcome to this webinar our guests from Riada, Therese Lindepil and Mats Karlsson. They will talk about and show you how they use Tempo, Jira, and integrations to complete their billing puzzle. And with us here today is also Guðrún Fema from Tempo, who is a channel account executive. And maybe if the three of you would like to introduce yourselves, starting with Therese.
Yes, hi everyone. My name is Therese and I have been working as a consultant manager at Riada for 5 years now. Before that, I also have long experience working as a consultant within the Atlassian tools.
Hi, my name is Mats. I work as an Atlassian solution architect at Riada, and I've been doing that for 4 years now.
And last but not least, Guðrún.
Yeah, hi all. I'm Guðrún. I am a channel account executive and I've been working with the partners recently, but I used to be a product manager at Tempo as well for 5 years. So kind of have a very different backgrounds within the company.
Perfect. I'm super happy to have you all here today. So thank you for taking the time to join us. Just a quick look at the agenda today. We'll start with a short introduction about Tempo and the importance of tracking time for profitability before I hand it over to the Riada team, and they will show you how they integrated their tools to simplify and automate their billing cycle. And then Guðrún will cover the billing process in Tempo in more detail and share some exciting things coming in Tempo Timesheets. And we'll round up the session as usual with a Q&A at the end. Now, Tempo is a leader in time tracking solutions, and among our products are Tempo Timesheets, Tempo Planner, Cost Tracker for Tempo Timesheets, as well as Tempo Budgets. We've been around since 2007, and some of you in the audience may already know Tempo quite well and have already experienced how our tools give you and your team what you need to efficiently manage your time and tasks. Others are new to Tempo and are here looking for guidance on how to integrate Tempo reports into your invoicing process. We hope we will not only be able to show you how to set that all up, but also give you insights into how you can leverage Tempo reports for better decision making. And here are some of the 20,000 customers, large and small, who currently benefit from using Tempo. And we do have customers who range from small consultancy agencies to large corporations like BMW and Staples. And as more and more companies rely on software development as a key factor in their strategy and in their success, it becomes more and more important to track time spent on R&D. And whether you're big or small, if you're invoicing your customers, tracking time accurately is essential. All right, let's get into the good stuff. I think I can safely assume all of you here want to be profitable, and you want your organization and your teams to spend time at work wisely. But profitability doesn't just happen. How can you be profitable, and how can Tempo help you? The key is in the data. Now, working on the most profitable projects is an obvious way to stay profitable. And with Tempo, you can run reports that show you whether you're spending time on the right type of projects or customers, where the revenue is the highest. And having accurate estimates will keep your customers happy. But how do you know how much time to estimate? One way is to look at past projects in Tempo that are similar and use that as a reference. Now, investing in R&D projects is another way to stay profitable, and this time for the long term. With time tracking, you can make sure you're devoting the right amount of time to those types of projects. Plus, you can use time tracking reports to apply for tax credits, depending on the country and region you're in, of course. But as for invoices, turns out people usually don't pay you if you don't send them an invoice. And accurate invoices based on approved, reliable time tracking data are hard to dispute and can be even the basis for renegotiating terms of agreements you have with customers, especially around renewal time. If you can show how much time you've actually spent on a project, you can make sure you get fair compensation for your work. This is actually how Tempo got started. We were invoicing customers and they were complaining about inaccuracy and disputed the invoices we sent. And our developers were implementing Jira at the time and really didn't want to track time in multiple systems. So they came up with a solution. They built their own little application that made time tracking super easy and provided accurate reports to support invoicing. And we never had any complaints about invoicing again. But our customers benefit from using Tempo in many ways, not just by staying on top of projects with accurate data. Many of our customers also experience pure cost savings when they switch to Tempo. They might be coming from a large ERP system or a PPM system that is too complicated for their needs. But by switching to the Tempo tools, they can achieve what they need and save sometimes significant amounts of money. And others save time or simplify processes by saying goodbye to pen and paper or cumbersome spreadsheets that take a long time to maintain and are very prone to mistakes and errors. Yet others gain insights into their business with Tempo reports. And even if you here are mostly using Tempo for invoicing customers, this is an opportunity you should really take advantage of. You should run reports to understand your business better. You might see an increase in team's productivity like some of our other customers when you start time reporting. And we do have customers that apply for R&D tax credits and rely on Tempo Timesheets to provide accurate and reliable time tracking reports to support their applications. And some of you here might know that those applications and the audits that come with them can be very, very rigorous. All in all, by leveraging Tempo, you should be able to save money and time. And hopefully we can show you how you can further automate and simplify processes by integrating other tools in your tool stack. All right, so before I hand it over to Riada for the demo, we want to launch our poll of the day. We want to know, what systems are you using to invoice your customers? So I'll go ahead and launch the poll, and you should see it on your screen. There we go. So we have a few SAP and Navision users here, a few on Fortnox and QuickBooks, and then many that are using some other tool or spreadsheet. But maybe thank you all for participating. But Gudrun, with the Tempo APIs, can customers build integrations with some of these tools?
Yeah, certainly. And even Tempo Accounts was actually first designed to export into SAP, so it has a lot of overlap with the SAP structure. But for all of those tools, we have APIs both for our work logs and the account components that allow you to export this into any tool that you want. Those are open REST APIs that are publicly maintained. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And Therese, there are some Fortnox users here. I believe that is the tool that you are using as well, correct?
Yes, that is correct. We were using Visma before, but this integration is about Fortnox.
Okay, and hopefully you'll be able to inspire some users here on the call with how you set things up. But thank you all for participating in the poll. I'm going to go ahead and hide the results, and we'll go back to the slide deck. All right, perfect. With that, I'm going to hand it over to Mats and Therese, who will walk you through how they built their solution. So I'm going to go ahead and make you the presenter, Mats.
Yes, thank you.
You should see something on your screen. And all right, perfect. I can see your slide deck, so we're good to go.
Good.
Perfect. So I will start to talk a little bit about Riada and what our mission is. Well, it is to enhance collaboration in every organization. We enjoy helping teams to reach their goals. And as you know, the Atlassian products and the marketplace apps are really contribute to more efficient collaboration. So Riada was founded in 2005 in Stockholm. Riada has grown rapidly over the past 5 years, and now we have offices in 4 different cities in Sweden. We are about 40+ consultants with broad competence, working with everything from server operation, product expertise, and methodologies. And Riada has been a partner with Atlassian since 2008, and we are actually the largest partner in Sweden. Almost all our consultants are certified, including both me and Mats, of course. And as a Platinum Solution Partner, we provide all Atlassian and Agile services that our customer need, from expert consulting, which I have already briefly talked about, to hosted solutions, trainings, and license sales. And after this webinar, you can visit our website to get to know more about what we offer. But now, let's deep dive into the billing puzzle, which we have gathered to talk about today. So about a year ago, we decided to tackle a problem that we were beginning to find annoying. As I mentioned earlier, Riada has grown rapidly in recent years, and we now invoice about over 100 different customers per month. Our consultants has always reported their time in Jira using Tempo Timesheets, but we hadn't looked into the possibility to integrate Jira and Tempo with our finance system to reduce vulnerability and to avoid manual labor. So Mats, let's go through the process overview.
Yes. First of all our consultants log their time on issues in Jira. And we use Tempo Timesheet to extend the workload functionality. And this gives us the possibility to collect extra attributes for the worklogs, like if the hour is billable or not. And we also use Tempo reports to approve all consultants' time by the end of the month before we start the billing. And then we also have Insight. And we use Insight to store our customer database inside of Jira. And here we have all information about the customers, and this also includes, for example, hourly rate, invoice details, contract details, and so on. Insight is an asset management system that is made by our sister company Mindwell. And Mindwell was actually bought by Atlassian for a few weeks ago. This is an example view from that system. And then finally, we use Fortnox as our finance system. And this is an external cloud-based system with an open API.
Yes, and as mentioned, we recently added this integration between Insight and our finance system. Before this change, our invoice process was very slow because it was done manually. I simply exported the billable hours from Tempo per account, and after that, I found the hourly rate inside Insight per customer. And in our finance system, I created the invoices based on the information that I had collected. But now, these steps are not necessary anymore, as we have the integration between Insight and Fortnox.
And now I will show you how we do this in Jira. For each customer assignment, we have a Jira issue. And this one is for a fictional customer called Adar. And we use Tempo Timesheets to be able to mark each workload with an account. And therefore, we also have a custom field for that here. And the issue also has an inside custom field that points to the customer account inside our customer database. And you can click on the inside custom field like this. And then we will see information about our customer that is stored in the database. So in this example, I have been performing a Jira upgrade. And it was done in January. And it took me 4 hours to do. And I mark all hours as billable. And that means that I want them to end up on the invoice in the end of the month. And I could also set other attributes down here, like out of business hours or travel time. In this case, it was just normal time. So I press log time here. And now we have a workload. So Therese.
Yes. So now we will go into Insight. In Insight, we have our customer database with all the information regarding our customers and their cost centers. And as you can see, the customer cost center in Insight is connected to the Tempo account. In this case, you can see this through the columns Tempo ID and Tempo key. So here I have clicked on the account Add Air Consulting Services, which Mats just logged 4 hours to. And in Insight, one object can have many attributes. On this account, you can see many attributes, and some of these attributes are important information for the create invoice process, like hourly rate, currency, and we also have different rates depending if it's travel time. And if we click on the invoice object that is linked to the specific account, we will see that this object also has different attributes with more information for the billing process, like the customer number, kundenummer in Swedish. And in the create invoice process, we will read that account add air is linked to the customer number 1234 in the finance system.
And now to the final piece. The integration with Fortnox is done using an inside automation job. There is a Groovy script that starts each time an object in the Fortnox category is changed. For each function in the script, we have an object, as you see in this list here. And this setup makes it easy for us to extend with new function using the same automation job. And so when a month is over and all hours has been logged, Therese will go in here and set the run attribute on the create invoice object, like this. And this will start the process of fetching all log time and build a structure of invoices that is then sent to Fortnox using the REST API. There is a status field on the function object that will say busy until the script is done. And when we do this for real, it takes about 5 minutes. But in this case, it was just those 4 hours and only one invoice, so it directly was finished. And you can go in on the object, and there is a comment section here, and here is the result from the procedure. You can see here, and any errors also. And in this case, everything went well, and we see that we have created one invoice in Fortnox with total amount of 4 hours.
Yes, and now we are in our finance system to see the result of the previous steps. If we click on the menu here, we go to invoices and we'll find the invoice to add air with the customer number 1234. That was also an attribute on the invoice object in Insight. Now I've clicked on the invoice and we can see more details. Here are the 4 hours that was logged by Mats in the beginning. And you can also see that the hourly rate is there from Insight. As you see, the article is the Jira username, and if those hours would have been marked as travel hours, this would be specified in the article name as well. And thanks to Tempo Teams, we are able to connect the Jira username with the consultant's region as cost center and department as project. This allows us to get a more deep analysis when looking at statistics later on. So we will now have a look at how the printed invoice looks like. The integration will always create invoice for full previous month and will always put in the last day of the previous month as invoice date. There were so many things previously that I entered manually, but thanks to the script, this is now done automatically. When I run this for real, I will have multiple invoices created in less than 5 minutes. Before it took me more than 1 full day to do this. So by using the products from Atlassian and the apps that we already had in our environment, we managed to make this a winning concept for us.
Yes, and we are really happy with this solution. We have gained a lot of time and less errors because of the process is now automated. And we get better reports in the finance system since we can feed it with more data. And thanks to Tempo and Insight, we are able to continue to log time inside of Jira and still integrate our finance system in Fortnox. And if you have a similar solution at your company, just ask us and we're happy to help. Yes, that was everything for us.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Mats and Therese. It almost looks like you, Therese, were the integration before.
Yes, I was.
You're able to focus on other more important things than the manual labor of doing this. So very interesting. Now we're gonna turn to Gudrun. Gudrun, I'm gonna make you the presenter so that you can present your slides and screen. So I'll let you know when I see your screen. So I can see your screen, but I can't hear you yet.
All right.
Awesome. Great.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much, Therese and Mats. This is actually really great insights, and maybe all of you are asking yourselves, like, do we need all those tools, or do we need more, or maybe this doesn't support my billing process? The answer to that question, like if you would really need all these steps, it really depends on the requirements and the complexity of the desired process that you have. We have other functionalities within Tempo, and we have things that we haven't seen today, and I'm going to go into a little bit now. But what you can do is just start simple with a single product and then build on top of that. And then, of course, we have our partners, for example, like Riada, that are experts in Tempo and insights, and especially this use case that can always help you with that. But what I wanted to go through in a bit more details, and we saw a little bit in the Riada's process, is the fact that we have something called account work attribute, which is where the accounts or customer projects are associated to the worklogs directly. We have the billable hours in the logwork form, if you might have difference between the billable hours and the worked hours. It's possible also to link the accounts to different entities and different constructs within the Tempo Accounts product that comes with timesheets. And those attributes are the customers, which the Riada team has offloaded to Insight. But we offer a simple way to associate customers to the accounts. We also have account categories and account category types, like associating workloads that are billable or are capitalized or internal. And then we, of course, like I mentioned in the beginning or earlier, the Tempo Accounts API. And then as a small teaser here, we have account approval that's upcoming in the next months. But I wanted to go into the product and show you a little bit how to do this. So as you saw in the issues, and this feels like you might be asking yourself the question, how do I get people to log time to specific customers? Is it a lot of extra work? And as you could see in their demonstration, is that the accounts are custom fields on the issue, and the accounts will actually be part of the issue creation workflow. So people that are responsible for creating the issues, they can actually select it on the issues, and they don't have to worry about it afterwards. We even have a functionality called default account, so they can automatically be associated with certain projects. And then, so when people, so let's say we look at issue here where we have the account already selected on the issue, it means that all work that's here will be associated with that account. So users that are logging time, they don't really need to think about it. And going forward, so here is the log time form, and this is as you saw before, and this is where we have the worked and the billable hours. And the reason why we have those two fields is that there are companies that have the requirements to sometimes log more or less billable hours than they actually spent on it. So they might have a service contract or something, so they might have actually spent 1 hour on a ticket but ended up having to bill for maybe 4 hours if they have minimum billing requirements. And but the billable field will automatically by default be so let's say I'm working creating connector. If I put 8 hours here, the default value will be 8 hours, the same for the worked, but I can always decide to select 4 hours here. And as you can see here, this is the account work attribute. So for this issue, the issue that I looked at here, we have the Wikia Salesforce connector associated to it. So all workloads I will log on this issue will go directly to this account. But in case I don't want it, like there's an exception, so maybe I'm in training or something like that and it shouldn't be billed to the customer, we can actually select a different account for this workload specifically, and then we can log time. But if I go a little bit into the accounts and then how to do the reporting on that. So this is the account. An account is essentially a customer project that has a specific category. So it's billable, or it's capitalized or operational. And you can associate this. For example, you can see here that you can associate the customers, the categories, you will assign leads to those accounts and possible external contacts, and associate them with different projects within Jira. And if we select the cloud-based development account, you will get this, you will see this overview. You will get a timesheet for that account. So here we're looking for the month of August. We're looking at the timesheet for this account, grouped by issue and user. And you can actually group this in any way you want. So you could, for example, just see the issues that have been logged for this account within this period. Or you can, and maybe you want to see the project. So you will see the project and then the issue. This will be the standard group by in a report functionality. And you can even add more fields to this. So you can add the billable or plan, and you can create the report that you want for the account. And I wanted also to show you kind of hidden features that we highlight, maybe a little less for the accounts, but those are the price tables. So you can associate a price table to an account, which means that for people in specific roles, they will have certain prices. You can select a different price table for the account, and you can also specify a discount rate for the account. And for that, we can calculate the revenue. So let me show you the revenue report where I have data for it. So here, we do have a revenue report that shows you the account revenue, and the revenue target, if it's under or over target, and the breakdown by the team roles that we have in Tempo, and based on the price tables that we have. And for the same, we also have time and expense. So that's the more of a table that shows the breakdown by issues and what was done. And going into that a little bit further, you can create, and like I said, you can associate the category type or the category to the accounts. So that's for more flexible reporting. So right now we're looking at a report that is called All Billable Hours. It's a report that I have saved, and it'll be my monthly report that I'll always look at as the account manager that's responsible for the billable hours. And you can, here I've filtered by all hours that are associated with the category type billable. What I could also do is I could just select the account categories development. That's another way to use accounts. And then I will have a different breakdown. So this is how you can use the attributes that we have linked to the accounts to kind of create the reporting that you want. And you can select any period that you want for that, and the breakdown either by days, weeks, months, or quarters. And just to finish off with the functionality that I wanted to show you is that last but not least, we do have the gadgets in the dashboard that are specifically related to the account. So you can see the account breakdown by customers. You can see the total worked hours grouped by customers or grouped by categories or accounts. You can also edit the configuration for this. We have the account hours by the customers here, so we see how that is, how that's divided. You can also change the tables here, and then you have the burn-up charts. And for the accounts APIs, this is of course information that can all be extracted through our APIs and exported into other systems. Whether you decide to use Insight or any other tool, you can link this directly to your invoicing tool, and And I encourage you to use the partners to also kind of help with creating these complex flows. They really know how to access that. Yeah, that is what I wanted to kind of cover here. For the account approval that I lastly want to mention, and I got back into this, will allow you to approve the hours and send them to your billing system. Only approved hours, and it will allow account managers to see what has been changed and kind of modify the workloads such that they're ready for export into the invoicing system. But going forward, I think now we're gonna head into the Q&A.
Yes, perfect. Thank you so much, Gudrun. I think I even learned a thing or two. And thank you so much, Therese and Mats from Riada for joining us today and presenting. And yes, we will open up for questions now. So please use the question pane on this GoToWebinar side panel to add your question, and we'll cover as many as we have time for today. And maybe let's start with this one. Actually, it's a follow-up on your presentation, Gudrun. How does my team log their time, and how can I rely on its accuracy?
Yeah, so we do have a lot of other functionality, and they're over. I'm just gonna go back into my into Tempo. So there's a lot of ways to log time in Tempo. There's actually users that are just familiar with Jira, just familiar with the Jira issue. They can actually just log their time through the Jira issue view. There are ways to do that. You can either log time by clicking the button here. There's a log time button here in the drop down. There's a really nice way. Anywhere you are in Jira and you want to log your time, you can actually click the W button on your keyboard, and it will launch the Tempo workload form. We have a tracker, we have a mobile app, we have what's called My Calendar, and you saw a little bit. And if you're using Planner also, which is pretty suitable when you're doing like customer work and planning work for customers and consultants, you can create plans for that, and you can log on your plans. So let's see if I have maybe. So for example, here we have a plan, meeting with clients in preparation for 2 hours. It will automatically all be filled here. Met with the client. And then we have 2 hours. It's going to be billable. It's going to be associated with this account. And I'm going to end. And I drove 60 miles to go and meet with a client because I'm not affected by COVID. And there it goes. So there's a lot of way. And like I mentioned in the presentation, I don't really need to worry about the account field. It is already part of the workflow, of the issue creation workflow.
Yep, and my favorite way to log time, because we are on cloud, I integrated with my Google Calendar, and all my Google Calendar invites are populated in this My Work area of Tempo. Oh, yeah. That's a really nice way as well to log your time. Yes, and even for approvals, sorry, I cut there.
Go ahead.
So approvals, how would that work?
Oh yeah, and I'm sorry. So what you can do here, you can use the team construct. So once I've finished logging all my time, which is a lot of time for this period here, let me delete this workload here for more realistic. And what you can do here is that you can have your teams set up. So at the end of the period, once you're finished logging your time, you can actually allow, like you can enable the timesheet approval. So team members can submit to their leads, and the team leads can, at the end of the month, let's see here, if I go into the Green Cloud Management team, you can have the approvals functionality, and you can see an overview of the timesheets. If maybe some of the people have submitted the timesheets, maybe some of them haven't. But this way, the hours will be locked once you've approved the timesheets for your team. We really encourage the use of this. But what also happens is and it's really good for the billing process, is that the description and the billable hours are not locked during this Teams approval process. So the account manager can still modify the descriptions on the workload and make them ready for the billing.
Awesome. Great. So more questions here. Maybe Mats, you can tackle this one. How much time did you spend on the integration assignment?
Yes, I think we spent around 50 hours to like modeling and trying to understand what data we needed to map to what in the different systems, and agreeing on what should be a project and what data we needed, and then maybe around 150 hours to implement the script. But we also had our customers inside Jira before we decided to do this thing. So if we didn't have that, it would be maybe a little bit more.
Okay, perfect. And Therese, I'm curious, what do you want to improve now? What's next for you in this integration story?
Well, for now, I think that we'll save version 2 of this process for a while. Instead of focusing on an integration for payroll salary for our employees, I think. Maybe we can show that in another webinar.
Yeah,
that has been implemented.
for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I think, Therese, this is a question that you could answer as well. In Fortnox, is there an option to run reports for a custom date range, not just monthly?
Yes, there is. Yeah, a range from date in between, right?
Yeah.
Yes, you can do it.
Yeah.
Okay. And when can the invoice be reviewed and approved, and in which interface is that? Maybe Mats,
yeah, I mean, we approve the hours inside of Jira before we generate the invoices, but then we also have this manual looking them through before we actually send them out to the customer. That's so that.
Yeah, the consultant managers will get a PDF with all the invoices, approving them before we send them to the customers.
Yeah.
So we export the
like
PDF from Fortnox, like approval step.
Okay. And maybe this one is maybe for you, Guðrún. How to assign one task to multiple resources, and do all resources need to have a Jira account?
So I'm gonna answer the second question first. Yes, all resources need to have the Jira account, and the Tempo licenses has to match the Jira license size. But assigning one task to multiple resources is really hard to do through Jira. However, you can create plans for users in using Tempo Planner, and that's a way to assign one task to multiple resources, and they can then either in their mobile app or in their My Work view see what they're supposed to work on.
Okay, perfect. Mats, here's one for you. It appears that you're not using the native rate functionality of Tempo. Why is that?
Because we have everything in our customer database. We store actually the contracts and actually everything in there. So we want to keep it in Insight, everything.
Okay, here's an interesting one as well. How do you create credit notes for time logged to the incorrect account for the previous closed month? In Jira, you can't reverse time. So maybe Therese, is that a question that you would like to answer?
Oh, maybe you can you repeat it, please?
Yes. How do you create credit notes for time logged to the incorrect account?
Okay. We'll actually take that not in Tempo at all, or not in Jira at all. We have that on the side in Fortnox together with our business controller.
Okay, perfect. Question as well, if people will receive the recording of the webinar. The answer is yes. We will share the recording with everyone who registered, and you'll receive that recording later today. All right, here's an interesting one. Can I use this the other way around? We have external developers working in our company that would like to create their timesheet as a basis of a bill, and they're sending us at the end of the month. Yeah, maybe Guðrún, maybe you want to start with answering that one. Can you use Tempo to ask your contractors to enter their time?
Yes, it's possible. You can give restrictive access to people. You can also make sure that they just cannot see anything, and you could create a separate project for them and they would not have access to anything else. I think it would require some custom work just to make sure, but you would have to pay for a Jira account for them. I cannot really think of another way to do this right now, but I think you would create them as contractors in your system, and you would allow them to create work logs and maybe issues in specific projects.
Yes, then you can also collaborate with them in Jira. You get some extra, not only workload functionality.
Yeah, exactly.
So that could be good. Yeah.
Yep. All right. Maybe Therese, this is for you. How do I prevent user from logging time against a task with closed or archived account?
That's not possible because Tempo will say that the account is closed, right? Isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. That's correct.
Yeah.
So we do have, so closed and archived accounts are just closed and archived, and the account might be associated to that issue. What we will ask you to do is to change the work logs on the issue, or to create another linked issue to that issue, because we will not allow that action.
Okay, great. Guðrún, maybe this one is for you as well. When an account is set to non-billable, can the user still set hours for the billable hours in the Tempo log time entry?
They can do that. It is possible. You can also just skip having the billable field if you just want to use the accounts as a way to kind of say, and just worked hours to the accounts are billable. So you can use billable hours and accounts separately. So you might have the simplest billing process, which is not using accounts and only using billable hours. You might want to use just the accounts, so all worked hours will be either go to a billable account or a non-billable account, but then people also use it in conjunction. And I would recommend, if you are not allowing billable hours to be logged to billable accounts, I would, yeah, I don't think I have a good recommendation actually for that right now. But you will always be able to report on that and to highlight that in our reports. So you can actually see non-billable accounts and see if they have anything billable before you review it or send it out.
Okay, cool. Mats, maybe a little bit of a technical question for you. Where is the user employee rates maintained, and where do you assign them to employees? And maybe Mats, first you can explain how you would do it, and then maybe Guðrún, you can follow up if there's a workaround to do it in Tempo.
Okay, we have the rate for each customer contract in Insight, and then each issue you work on is connected to a customer, like account, and also a Insight customer. So all those are matched together. So the same person can work on different issues, and it will be billed different amount of per hour. If I understood the question correctly.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. If there will be two users having a time logging to the same, should have a different hourly rate, we need to have different accounts.
Yeah.
Okay.
For like if you, yeah, so in Tempo, the price tables are associated to specific accounts. So you can define it based on that. but as I understood the question, it's about historical changes. So let's say that right now I'm gonna charge my customer for this price, and then after 2 months I'm gonna charge them for, you know, any changed price or for the change of roles. So the roles and the team membership actually have a joining and leaving dates. The price tables and the rates in the price tables per role do not have an historical date in Tempo. And I think this might be, if you want that, it's more complex use case. We are for price tables, we're basically solving very limited set of the process. It's a simple use case. I would try to use Insight or another tool to help with those rates.
Okay, excellent. Can you set Gudrun, maybe that's one for you. Can you set a cap on how many hours can be logged on an issue? For example, a customer already paid you for 10 hours of work and you want to prevent people working on it when the time is used up.
Not out of the box from Tempo. No, we don't have that. But I'm pretty sure that the Atlassian ecosystem is so creative. I'm pretty sure there is a way to achieve that somehow by doing some verification. So before you post the work log, you actually check how many hours have been registered to the issues and if it's allowed to go there. But this would be done through some kind of a scripting and customized.
I mean, you can also use, I usually use, if I have 10 hours on for a customer, I put that in estimate on the issue. And then remaining will automatically count down when I log hours. So I will see that it's just 2 hours left. I cannot log any more, or I will not be stopped, but I wouldn't do that.
It's a great tip.
Yeah. Here's one curious about the upcoming account approval, Gudrun. Will that mark each work log with status the same way as the current approval does? Will timesheet approval and account approval be used at the same time?
No, it will be separate. It will label each work log with the status and the timestamp of when it was approved. So it won't be
perfect. Maybe Gudrun, you also have a solution for this one, or even Mats or Therese. When we create subtasks under an issue, the account does not carry over to the subtask. Rather, we see inherited from parent. We have to manually enter the time account. Is there a solution to this one that you can think of, Gudrun?
This would again be through scripting. Unfortunately, in some cases, this doesn't happen. That's including subtasks. So we actually, we have used internally script runner to do this. So everything that we actually put the accounts on epics and everything is populated on the issues underneath. And they already have a ready-made script in their public library that you can access there.
Okay, like you said, the ecosystem is very creative to find solutions to problems. Okay, is there a way to associate some tasks in Jira to fixed cost and other to the timesheet hours, like have them both linked to the customer account? Not sure I understand the question. Gudrun, do you want to take a look at that one? Is there a way to associate some tasks in Jira to fixed cost and others to timesheet hours?
It is not, well, it could be possible through using the expense functionality on an issue. So you would inhibit logging time on those issues and then just put the expense amount on that issue. That's possible. So in the time and expense report that I showed you before, we are both including the time and the expenses on the issues. That would be one way.
Okay, cool. And maybe some recommendations from you, Mats. How do you decide on types of accounts? So you have some CapEx, OpEx, and some for general development, and it seems one for a specific project. but none of the customers have all types of accounts.
I think you need to help me here, Therese. I mean, we have one account for each contract with a customer, and it could be one customer with 5 contracts, different kind of things they are buying from us.
Yeah, and
So,
in our case, we only have one category, that is the one that we are billing. The internal categories are we using for internal time at Riada.
Okay. So maybe this is more of a question for you, Guðrún. How would someone decide on the type of account in Tempo accounts?
Yeah, I think it really depends on the use case, and I think I would recommend that you would really sit down, put down the structure that you want. So the type, so we have fixed category types, and there are only 4 category types. That's billable, capitalized, operational, or internal. And then we do recommend, for example, we have development, and development can be both, well, the new development is mostly capitalized. All of our internal meetings and vacations are always going to be internal, and we log all of this to accounts to be able to report on like the bigger and the whole aspect. But we also have other capitalized work that is not development, and then we have categories for those. So service contracts could be a category. And then or maybe you would just want to opt for a much simpler structure, which is just billable, capitalized, and operational. It really depends on the reporting needs that you want to have.
Yes, exactly. That's probably good advice. It's best to start with what you're trying to achieve and then find a way to set it up in Jira. And Jira and Tempo are both extremely flexible to suit your needs. Right, I think we have time for one more question. This one is for you, Guðrún. How and where to create the Tempo dashboards like you did in the demo? I'm guessing you're referring to the gadgets.
So wait, if I go back here, this is just in the dashboard, and you can actually save the dashboard. So this is the Jira dashboard that we have on server, and we have our gadgets. They're available within the dashboard view, so you can actually add different here. You can just click here, add gadgets. This is just the front page of Jira. It's taking some time to load for me here. My internet is not the greatest. Yeah, so we click add gadgets. You can just click Tempo here, and then you will get the gadgets, load all gadgets, and you can click the gadget that you want in here. And then you can configure that. So you can select the customer that you want, the display, the period, and how often it should refresh. So okay, it's not the best example because I don't have data in there, but this is how we would do it.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. So if we didn't get to your question, fear not, we'll reach out to you via email and respond to your question that way. But we really appreciate everyone joining us today and all the great questions we've seen. Just before we close this session, if you do want to explore more, you can connect with our product team in our new idea portal at ideas.tempo.io. You can either search for an idea and vote on it, or you can create your own one if there's something cool and interesting that you would like to see developed in Tempo. But I really, really appreciate everyone taking the time to join us here today. Mats, Therese, thank you so much for joining. And maybe Therese, any final comments before we close the session?
No, just you know where we are if we can help you, of course.
Yep, and thank you, Mats, for joining. Any last comments?
no, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you as well. Guðrún, great presentation. It's great to see the Tempo product in action. Anything you want to share with the team, the audience, before we leave?
Well, first of all, thank you for all the great questions. I really like being put on the spot here. I just want to let you know that we have tempo.io/developers that has all the account APIs. So if you're exploring integrations into other systems, you can actually see what is supported on our site there. You can also join our Slack developer community if you want help from other developers. So both the Tempo developers and other developers from the ecosystem or have been using the APIs, I would encourage you to go there.
Yes, great. Thank you. That's a great reminder. We'll make sure to share all those links via email. So look out for an email with a recording, with a slide deck, and further information about our API integration, and then an email from Riada as well with information from them. But awesome. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Thank you to Riada, and have a nice day and stay safe.